Hi everyone. I'm really making this video to help those out when you were in class to help follow along in creating your Twitter and your Weebly accounts. I'm going to start off with talking about Twitter and then move into Weebly. I think this video will provide an opportunity for those that couldn't really follow along in class to be able to have some extra support, as well as you're doing it, you're free to pause the video, go back, go forward, and see if you missed anything or revisit any of the steps. If you're already set up on Twitter, if you're already well versed in Weebly, go ahead. You don't have to watch this video, but I did want to provide some extra support to our friends that need a little help getting started for our class materials. So I do want to start off in Schoology. If we go to the week 1 section here, you'll be able to see all of today's slides in the week 1 content folder. So they're right there. I have it opened already on another tab here. So I'm going to focus on Twitter. One of the things that we're going to focus on in this class is having Twitter slow chats. It's kind of a professional practice, especially in the tech world, but it's also a way for us to assess you through answers in prompts that relate to the lessons that we covered in class. So the way that the conventions work for Twitter is that once you set up your Twitter account, and I do want to revisit that if you haven't created your Twitter or your Weebly account, you go back to Schoology. And if you go to where we had our orientation, our start here, prepare for one, we did post tutorials for Twitter and Weebly here on starting your account. Okay, so make sure to follow those. So one of the things you're going to see, Shannon will be posting, and she has them going automatically every other day, I believe, would be the questions for this class. The questions will be posted with the naming convention Q1 as example for the first question. So the second question will be Q2. Third and fourth questions will be Q3 and Q4. At the end of each question and at the end of each answer, the hashtag EdTechLead has to be present. That's how we're going to be able to find your tweets. Also, you want to make sure that you fill out the social media presence form on Schoology so that we're able to have all of your Twitter handles so we can make sure that we're following you. And the same goes for Weebly. In this instance, when you answer to Q1 or Q2, you're going to be answering it with the same naming convention at the beginning as well. So if this is the first question that you are answering that Shannon has posted, by the way, if you're not following Shannon, please do at Tabaldo on Tech. So when she posts Q1, your response will have to start with an A1. You would answer the question and then end it with a hashtag EdTechLead. I'll show you some examples. Some of the students have already posted to kind of help you familiarize yourself with these conventions. Note that Twitter only allows you for 140 characters. So keep in mind that the A1 or A2 portion, depending on which question you're answering, and the hashtag EdLead at the end will take up some space in your allotted character count. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into Twitter here. So this is my Twitter. One of the things that you can do to find the question would be to do a search on Twitter. And it's already saved onto one of my recent searches, which is EdTechLead. When you go on here, and I do want to emphasize, you see a lot of bells and whistles around Twitter. So I'm going to be talking about Twubs later on, and that gets kind of rid of all of these who to follow, trends for you kind of things that are on Twitter. But the first things first is that what I want to focus on is don't go to top, which is what these searches on Twitter default to. You want to hit latest, which is the second option on the menu, because there you'll get the chronological order of how everyone is answering. Remember that one of the things we are not looking for are for duplicates in the conversation, so you really want to pay close attention to what the other students have said. So Shannon has already placed the first question on here, so note that it starts with a Q1 and ends with a hashtag EdTechLead. We have a couple of classmates that have participated already, and note that the way that they are answering is exactly what we're looking for. The answer starts with an A1 and ends with a hashtag EdTechLead. You will see other people that are not related to our course, that are not related to LMU, participate in these conversations, which is great. It's a great way to network. It's a great way for you to see what other people and other professionals around the country and around the world are really doing with educational technology. So in the slides for the presentation here, we also pointed you to a TWUBS, which is a combination of the word Twitter and hub. So we're going to go to our Twebs here. If you click on this link, it'll lead you here. It kind of becomes a website for our conversations. So you'll see the same conversations here, but without the corporate kind of Twitterness that you'll see on here. So whatever your eyes prefer, you can follow that. We don't require one or the other as long as you're keeping in mind the answers other people have already posted. With that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into Weebly. Now I'm going to start from the beginning here. Go ahead and log out. Again, the information on how to start a a Weebly account is on the orientation section of Schoology. So I'm going to go ahead. I already do have an account, so I am going to log in. And what you see here are other sites I've created. If you've never created a Weebly site, you wouldn't have anything on this list. But if you go to my sites, you're going to go ahead and add a site. And it's going to take you to some templates here. Note that this is going to be part, even though we're only focusing on the blog for this week, that this will go into a portfolio. So you want to pick a template that looks kind of professional in that sense, but you're also, if you pick the wrong template at the beginning, don't worry, you're not married to it. You can always change the template, the way the themes look. So I'm going to pick one, let's see. I like lighter colors on websites because they're a little easier to read. And by default, Weebly is going to give you some pages that it's created for you, and you can go ahead and edit those. To start off, you will have a free account on Weebly. We are not expecting anyone to pay for a Weebly account or to register a new domain. So you do want to use a subdomain of Weebly. That is their free option. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Oscar's example on here. And you want to make sure that your name is available. One of the things to keep in mind is to probably keep your subdomain professional. Okay. You see here, a lot of these elements that the template comes with are, for example, the picture of this couple, you can change them. So again, don't feel that because you pick that template, that picture is always going to be there. That is just a stock image that you can change, and hopefully will change as you move on. So there are pages on here, and notice because this template was made for a wedding registry, it comes with some pages already preset. I clearly don't want any of these, so I'm going to do a couple of things. And what I did, if you'd like to follow along, is at the top menu of Weebly, there's Build, so I went to Pages right next to it. I'm going to change Story to Home. Okay, and then what I want to do, because I don't want any of these other pages, you can delete any of the extra ones that don't belong there. Okay. And again, you could always edit this image by uploading something from your computer onto there. When I add my blog next to pages here, there is a plus sign and it tells you what kind of page do you want to add. I want to add a blog page. Okay. You can name it something like EdTech blog, and this name will change how it changes in the menu. So once that's done, click on the menu of pages here. You see that it appears there. So you may have to retitle it here. Again, you can change that picture to something a little more having to do with your site. So clearly, if this were my real blog, I wouldn't keep those sandwiches there. There are a couple of categories here that you will see. And I want to tell you, again, you're not married to the template. So if you go next to Pages on the top menu and go to Theme, right, you can change your theme to another one. So I'm really not liking the one that the way this one's going for this example. So I'm going to pick that one, choose theme, and boom. Oh, this looks way better. Okay. So once you've made your blog page, you can delete elements that are preset on here. So there's author, archives, and categories. I would remove categories and archives or whatever other extra ones your theme comes with. I would keep author. Say a little bit about yourself. Say that you're in this program. We really want to develop a sense of professionalism and web presence that reflects that on there. So this is something that I definitely recommend to keep and for you to have a little blurb about yourself. So let's say that you are ready to start your blog from this class. So I'm going to go back to Schoology. Go back to the course here. In week 1, the content folder. See at the bottom, towards the bottom, there is a week 1 blog post. Go ahead and click on that. And for this week, doesn't happen every week, but for this week, you have an option between 2 blogs. So let's say I pick the first one. One of my recommendations would be to copy the prompt for the blog, and then you will paste it onto your blog post once we post it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's make a new post. And let's digital immigrants and natives. And at the bottom, it doesn't necessarily default to a text box. So there are elements to the left here that you can drag. We are only requiring text, and that's really what we're grading if you read the rubric. But you are free and invited to definitely make the blog more aesthetically pleasing by adding images and maybe attaching a video that you found on YouTube or anything like that. So if you look throughout these options, there are some pretty cool options. But for practical reasons, we are going to go ahead and add text. So you take anything that you want on your blog from the left, drag it to the box where you want it, and then you let it go. And now you can type into your blog. First thing I'm going to do is paste the prompt on there. And then I write my super duper insightful blog. Once I'm done, we're going to go ahead and publish this. There's a couple of steps to publishing. It becomes easier once you've established your site after the first time. Once your site is established, you just hit this post button on the right. So I'm going to hit post, but because this website isn't live, I might get an error message. There it is, saying we can't really post it until you publish the site. So I'm going to close this and publish the site. You can, if this is your first time publishing this site, you'll see that it'll have you double check the subdomain that you picked, and then you hit continue. It'll think, and then it'll say your website is online. So you can go ahead and click on that link. Okay. My home is empty because I haven't put any elements in there. You're going to be adding those later on. I'm going to go to EdTech blog here, and boom, there it is. Any other time that you add a new blog, so let's say it was another post I posted. Here's a new post. They say hello. Go ahead and post that. You would just hit that post button from that point forward. So if I hit refresh now, my second post is now on there, that hello post. What we want you to do is to take the web address, the URL for this site, for your blog, and you are going to copy that. You're going to go back to the blog post part of the assignment, and towards the bottom here, you are going to attach your blog post. So in the Schoology response section, there is a link button, which is the 2 chains right there, the 2 chain links. So right here is where you would paste that URL, attach it. Now, if you notice, the post part is grayed out because it does require you to have some text in there. If you hit a space bar, or if you want to say something like, this is my blog, it'll let you post it. For the sake of this example, I am not going to post it. But what I do want to say is that it gives you a great opportunity because we're posting the links as a discussion board to go through the blog posts of your classmates and maybe get some insights into their school sites and into their rules, and maybe even draw inspiration from that as well. Again, if you have any questions about either Twitter or Weebly, all of our contact information is on the syllabus, or feel free to contact us directly through Schoology. So we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.